This is the 5 Point Play Podcast, the Die Hard 2 Basketball Fans Podcast. We are back. Hey, we got a couple wins. Duke Nation, everybody take a breath. But we got a big one coming up Wednesday night against Baylor, who obviously was looking ahead just like we are right now after laying an 8 against Michigan State. We all saw that one coming. Guard heavy team, shooting horribly against a horrible Michigan State team. And now they're going to shoot 110% against us, of course. But obviously, we want to talk about the Charlotte and the Hofstra game. We're going to talk about the Quinn Cook Jeremy Roach debate, apparently, which kind of came out of nowhere. Jeremy Roach is playing phenomenal, so we want to kind of really highlight that part of it. And then, if there is actual comparisons to be made, we'll talk about those as well. We're going to do another stock market because we got a lot of things to talk about there. And then obviously we're going to cover Baylor and AC. You guys are going to do a coach's corner for
Yes,
the
we
Baylor
are.
game coming up.
Absolutely. Got one coming up. Going to record tomorrow. Little breakdown of Hofstra and that game and how that kind of played out and the changes the offense made. And then we're going to look at how what Baylor likes to do and how it could give us trouble and also what we can do against it.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked it out on Patreon, please do. They just did another Jack, Pablo, and AC did a coach's corner, kind of breaking down the last couple losses that we had against Arkansas and Georgia Tech. And AC, real quick, I'll keep it with you here, and we'll get right into the recaps of the Charlotte and Hofstra game. Where did we improve? What kind of changes did John Shire make to, especially in that second half against Hofstra, where our offense really seemed to kind of start clicking a little bit better? Honestly, Flip, had an amazing game. He had 7 turnovers, which I kind of see everywhere. And I kind of feel like 3 or 4 of them weren't even on him, so I just want to get that out of the way first. But, him and Jeremy Roach right now are clearly our 2 best players. But what did you see from a coaching standpoint on some of the changes that were made after the 2 losses?
I mean, a couple of things like the spacing. Was much better against Hofstra. Defensively, we were much better against Hofstra. They obviously started out hot, but we were able to kind of control what they did after that. So defense is definitely a part of the equation, but offensively, just where they're initiating the offense, and that's why Flip had almost double with assists. It's because we were operating closer to the free throw line now, as opposed to 30 feet away, 25 feet away, and trying to do the traditional let's start from the outside type of thing. We were getting much better spacing, much better with the levels where guys were set up on the court. That led to a lot of points for us and a lot of easier opportunities than we were getting. A lot of the opportunities we had been getting in the past weren't very easy. And we hit shots. Like hitting shots always makes everything look better, because I think the misconception was that we weren't running any offense when we were losing games, and we were running plenty of offense. It's just some of the execution was bad, some of the spacing was bad, and I think that was cleaned up.
Yeah, Jack, I want to bring you in on this one. I thought that overall, kind of like AC said, the ball movement was better, but I know that you had a post on there on Instagram, and one of the things that we pointed out was that there was ball movement with a purpose. And I thought that was kind of like the key there, where it wasn't, just kind of, everybody wants to talk ball movement and player movement, but there has to be a purpose to it, right? And I thought that the end of that Charlotte game, and certainly the second half of the Hofstra game, we kind of executed that to the ability that I think that we can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. Jeremy had an incredible game passing the ball. Flip was 2 assists from a triple-double, and he's a big guy. His passing in general the last couple of weeks has just been much improved. Decision-making as well. Yeah. Like we've already covered, those 7 turnovers, a lot of them were not necessarily his fault. It just happened to be that he was the one credited with it, because some of those rules are very stupid as to whose turnover it is. That's just how it is. He had a great game. Jeremy had a great game, like I said. I like the ball movement. I like the off-ball movement. I think a lot of this is stuff we're going to cover in our coach's corner tomorrow. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but just be ready. It's going to be good.
Yeah, the obviously, coming off of 2 back-to-back losses and the sky is falling, we're questioning John Shire, is he the right guy? What did you kind of like to see, or what did you like after you saw what we did in the last couple of games that gives you a little bit more hope going forward.
Well, look, let's just stop with is John the right guy? Because that's crazy. He's absolutely the right guy. There's nobody else who could run this team. But just flip catching the ball at that free throw area, holding the ball up strong, watching the defense collapse, and then looking for the open shooter. Like, that's offense. That's what we wanted to see. AC, you mentioned it earlier. We're setting that up way under the 3-point line versus the pick dribble handoff at the top of the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to open so much space for Duke. And I know we keep using the word floor spacing and player movement and ball movement, but yes, you have to do it with a purpose. And when you get him the ball at the top of that free throw line, he's got 3 options. He can shoot it from there, he can drive it from there, or if you collapse the defense, there's enough shooters on this Duke team where somebody's open. You saw McCain get hot. You saw Foster get hot. I mean, you can't make shots without shooting shots. So I'm okay with them missing a wide open 3-pointer if it's a good shot. You know what I mean? Like you have to shoot the ball to make the ball. And if you're shooting the ball at the right time in the right moment, do it. Do it, because eventually it's going to fall. So I loved what I saw against Hofstra, and I think the coach's corner tomorrow is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, Pablo, I wanted to
talk. I hate to cut off really quick, but D, you did bring up Jared McCain, and a certain someone on this podcast said that Jared McCain should be toward the back of the rotation, and I just wanted to say, why? Jared McCain's been hot lately.
I mean, was he hot coming into it? Probably not.
No, but we knew he was capable of this.
Certainly, and I think that the actual question when, we talked about at the end of the last podcast is, kind of shaping things up. And what can Foster do? And, putting him next to Jeremy Roach, playing that Tyrese Proctor role, letting Mark play the 3 and kind of do that role. Honestly, Jared McCain answered those questions and was like, hey, look, I heard the podcast and I'm not going to be shut down anytime soon. Let's see what he can do against Baylor.
Clearly he listens.
In a neutral court, because Caleb Foster's already proven that on a neutral court, big game, that he's going to come out and score. So I'd like to see Jared McCain kind of keep that going. Nobody's going to question his work ethic. Nobody's going to question his drive and his ability to shoot the basketball. I think that he plays really hard defensively, but at the same time, he won playing particularly well offensively in the couple of losses that we had. And if John's going to come out there in press conferences and talk about shaping things up, to me, that was a natural thing to question, whether McCain's better coming off as the 6th man and kind of letting the game, from the bench, kind of seeing the game for a few minutes before he gets checked in. That's kind of where I wanted to go with it. But, hey, credit to McCain. Like, he came out there, to your point, and, shot very well, and I'm hoping that he does the same thing at Cameron North. When you're up there, right, Jack? You're going.
Yes, sir. I will be. And
I heard UConn owns Madison Square Garden now. That's what I heard.
I heard Carolina owns it. So
not anymore. Not anymore. They don't own that. And they don't own wherever the hell they played the
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta. So and Cadeau, best point guard in the ACC, apparently not true.
He's a good player, but yeah.
We're 9 minutes in. I want to get you in on this one. I want to talk about, there was a sequence there that got a little bit of social media publicity, I guess, where Duke was running a set that was very similar to what the Nuggets were running. And, I kind of, I like where they were going with it, but I want to get your thoughts on how they're using Mark Mitchell, because I think that Mark Mitchell is a player right now that he's certainly hearing the criticisms of his jump shot and, not shooting the 3, but also, he is attacking the rim. And I'd like to see him finish better at the rim, but I like the way John's starting to use him a little bit more. Kind of talk about where you see Mark, in terms of where his team is and how John is currently using him within the offense.
Yeah, so, his role, the way he was being used early on was kind of like how he's being used last year. It was more perimeter based than anything. I think he kind of inverted his role a little bit. He's trying to keep him more closer to the basket, which suits him better. Obviously, he's not a shooter per se, even though he led the team in 3-point percentage last year.
Right.
That's saying that was like an anomaly though. So we know that he's not a shooter, but I think the biggest thing is that Mark is understanding what he is now. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing, is that he's understanding that they're going to sag off him. They're going to do different things. They're going to throw a lot of just different junk defenses at him. So he's got to find his spots. And he's picking his spots. John Shire is actually putting him in the right spots. He's got him in a short corner, playing him in the dunker spot. Anything below the free throw line, it's been paying dividends for Duke. He's got him in a lot of different action. He's on weak side a lot. He's crashing the boards. He's doing a lot of things, a lot of positive things for Duke. And when he's getting the ball, when he's catching the ball on the perimeter, he's not settling. That's the biggest thing. He's not settling. He's like, oh, you want to back up? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna go right at your chest. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna go to the cup on you. You know what I mean? I might take a short jumper, and occasionally he'll take a 3 or 2, which I'm fine with. I'm okay with him taking 1 to 2 3-pointers a game.
Yeah.
But if they're leaving him open, they're leaving him open for a reason. So if he's just gonna shoot a 3-pointer every single time, I don't think we're gonna have much success at that. And I think he also realized that. But the coaching staff, I mean, they got a smart coaching staff over there. Shire's a bright coach. He's a younger guy, but he's a bright coach. And, all his assistants, they're just as smart as him. So they know what they had to do. They made the adjustments, and now we see it paid dividends.
Yeah, I want to keep it with you here, Pablo, though, because I wanted to ask you, as a player, though, it has to take. I mean, I think that this is a huge credit to Mark, because it can't be easy to be like, hey, look, dude, we got to ask you to stop shooting threes. We got to ask you to stop taking those ones. Clearly, they're sagging off of you. I know the tendency is like, hey, I can prove you wrong, but right now that's just not working for us. Talk about like the player mentality of that, where you have to be like, hey, I got to take a look in the mirror right now and say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it's going to take to help my team win, even if it means checking my ego at the door.
Yeah, so, a lot of that plays in the ego. And you just said the word, it plays in the ego. And the good part about it is that we don't have players with big egos. You know what I mean? So for him, it's honestly, it's an easy transition. You know what I mean? The kid is a likable kid, an intelligent kid. He understands, but ultimately he wants to win. So any part of his game that he has to sacrifice, he's willing to do. And that's what we're seeing, and that's why I think, we're successful at what we're doing, what I mean, with Mark. He's being successful, what is in his own personal thing and his own personal struggle that he was going through. And now we good. But I know that he got challenged as well. And he stepped up to the challenge. So, like I said, it's just paying dividends for Duke, man. And I think as long as he keeps his play up that way, I don't see why we can't win a national championship.
Yeah, AC, I want to bring you in here and kind of talk about the team overall, because obviously you come off a couple of losses, and most people, outside of, people that really get into the weeds like we do, will be like, oh, well, you played, Charlotte and Hofstra. But talk about the importance of what these 2 games and the changes that were made mean to a team like this, because at the end of the day, we still are a young team, and we are still trying to figure ourselves out, and we still have to figure out what our rotations are and, whose role is going to be what. We've kind of beaten that dead horse on this podcast. And then Proctor's out, right? But what have you seen, I guess, in the last couple of games that should have kind of encouraged Duke fans that are saying, well, it was just Hofstra and Charlotte?
Well, number one, it's just Hofstra and Charlotte, and we beat them like we were supposed to. We beat them like a drum both games. Like, it is what it is. Also, let's talk about Hofstra for a second, because that's a team that's just outside the top 100 in the NAT, I do believe. And they could see themselves sneaking in, especially if they win some games in the CAA. They're really well coached. Speedy Claxton is an amazing coach. He's going to have a lot of bigger schools calling for him very soon. If he does want to leave his alma mater, or he can stay there and dominate the CAA, which I think is coming. I think they have a squad that's going to be able to really compete in that league this year. And if they do make the tournament, they're going to be a problem for teams because of the way they can score the ball.
That's a good league.
Yeah, man. And Charlotte, they're not a slouch either. I mean, they offered a couple of unique challenges, especially with that 6'10" guard that they had that we kind of held and handled fairly well. I mean, he had a decent game, but we handled him fairly well. Like, we did the things we were supposed to do. We took care of the game. We took care of the ball. We played the defense that we need to play, and there were changes. So these games they act as practice for a team. Like, it's not just like we're going out there like this is the national championship game. We're going out there. This is a practice game. Yeah, we're trying to win the game. We're doing all the things we're supposed to do to win the game. We're also putting in different sets and unique sets that we haven't run yet to be able to do that because we just don't have that much practice time right now. The way we front loaded our schedule, whatever. We looked better. Like take it. Like we looked better.
Yeah, take the wins, right? And take the improvement. Like it doesn't matter what game you're playing. Like take the win, take the improvement, take the journey. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking the journey that I think a lot of fans. I don't know if it was always like this, in the 90s and the 80s and before our time, where it's like, where are we going to be seated in the tournament? Oh, we're a second round team. We're a Sweet 16 at best ceiling. Like that stuff has always bothered me because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The matchups are what determine the NCAA tournament to a huge degree. And so telling me that certain teams, are you telling me that the Jason Tatum team's ceiling was the second round because that's where they lost? Of course not. We got a horrible draw. That was a team that didn't know how to put teams away. We were a team that could have beaten anybody in the country. Like that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But Jack, you brought up Jared McCain, so I want to bring you back on this one to kind of talk about what you saw. Not just honestly shot the ball better, but what else did you see from Jared McCain that is like, okay, he's ready to kind of take that next step and kind of keep it as consistent as a freshman can?
Well, I mean, it started with the ball going in the hoop. That's huge. Like he had a couple of games where he had hit some shots late, and that was awesome. But no, he saw the ball go in the hoop. He had 21 points. That was Charlotte, right? Off the top of my head.
Against Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah, he had 21. He had an incredible game against Hofstra. It all starts with that. The confidence is there. Everything else comes with it. You get confident with the ball, knowing you can put it in the hoop. You know that other people, the defense is going to start to key on you more and open something up for other people, facilitate rebounds, run a break, play hard defense, because then you have a chance to get the ball in the hoop again. Like it all comes back to the confidence from the ball going in the hoop. And this is the Jared McCain that I expected at the start of the season, and I really hope this is the Jared McCain we see the rest of the season.
Yeah, I want to kind of touch on that and touch on the other freshman guard, Caleb Foster. The backcourt of them, I think it's really important for Duke to get in there and have the opportunity to get those two freshman guards more minutes and more experience. With Proctor being out, this is an opportunity for them to excel. What have you liked from Caleb Foster? What have you maybe not liked? And then I think the other thing is kind of talking about how Jalen Blake can come in and give you instant energy.
Well, let's start with Foster. And Pablo's been telling us this for months now, right? He's a point guard, and he's proven that he's a point guard, and the offense looks great with him running point. McCain is coming into his own. They're running like I said before with Flip getting the ball at that free throw line. Flip's either going straight to the rack, or he is looking for shooters. And there's a few times where the shooter he was looking for was McCain. I remember a particular play, and we'll get into this in the coach's corner. Gets the ball at the free throw line, ball's up top at his chest. He looks directly at McCain. McCain moves to the other side of the defender, pump fake, dribble drive, 15-foot jumper. Bam. Beautiful, beautiful basketball. Like that is how basketball is supposed to be played. But that doesn't happen without Foster making that right read, coming off of that screen that I believe Mitchell set. I have to go back and look at the film, but I think Mitchell set that screen. So, I mean, I'm.
And real quick to your point, when we did the Georgia Tech breakdown, we looked at a couple of plays where Flip looked McCain away, didn't even give him the ball. McCain was in the right spot, like he was there ready, and Flip was looking him away, like you're saying, like they're starting to.
He did the same thing to Power too, like, and I think that is, and I don't mean to cut you back. We'll come right back to D, but I wanted to kind of bring that up as well. And is that he did the same thing to Power. Jamie Roach did to Power, and I think that one of the things that John Shire said after the Georgia Tech loss was we need to make some changes, and we need to make some. And some of that is not X's and O's. It is the dude's fucking open, give him the fucking ball. Like the play worked, you didn't actually execute it.
With that Georgia Tech game too, I mean, and everybody needs to go watch his coach's corner who's listening to this. AC, you mentioned it in that coach's corner with Georgia Tech. Flip, regressing into some bad decisions, some bad habits. There's no reason for you to bend over at the waist and dribble the ball and turn around. No, you're 7 foot tall, dude. Keep that ball at your chest. You can see everything. You can see everything. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times in that Georgia Tech game, he was catching the ball way above that free throw line. So we need to dial it back, let the defense crash, and if they don't crash, then go to the rack.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing about Mitchell. If they're doing a screen dribble handoff, Mitchell can get to the rim at ease. Him and Roach, no problem. I want to see Mitchell go to the rim 40 times a game if he has the ball in his hand. Because I think
the other thing, though, Mitchell has to finish at the rim, though. Like, he has to put the ball in the hoop. Look, at the end of the Georgia Tech game, I know we got the technical, and I know he did it against Hofstra the one time where, like, just dunk the ball. Like, you're good enough to just elevate over your defenders and dunk the ball. Like, just do that. Pablo, like, you kind of talked about that in the last podcast. Like, talk about what Mitchell can do to, you know, because D's right. Like, he's in the right, and you said it too. Like, he's in the right spot. What can he do to just be like, hey, look, all I got to do is finish at the rim here?
Yeah. So, I mean, you said it. He just got to finish. You know, he's got to finish at the rim. I mean, that's the bottom line. There's nothing. I mean, he's, he is getting, he's getting fouled. He's getting hit a lot, but, he's got to play through contact. You know what I mean? It's not like Mitchell. He's not a small guy. So, it's not like he's a skinny guy either. So, he's 6'9" and 200 plus pounds. So, at the end of the day, he should just be finishing. But, I still, even the good part about it, though, is that when he does miss, he does, he hits the boards, you know what I mean? And he's tipping shots out and tipping the ball out or whatever. Pause. That was crazy. But yeah, that was wild. But, you know what I'm saying? He's tipping the ball. Other guys are getting offensive rebounds based off what he's doing. And sometimes, he's just putting, he's putting the opposing defense in a bad position. So even when he's missing, it's not all bad. I'll just say that it's not all bad every time he's missing.
Right. I will. Let me just say this. I don't like, and I feel like I scream this every time I'm watching Flip or Mitchell. And it's not every time they touch the ball. It's not every time they drive to the hoop. But let's not shy away from this contact. But like you said, you're 6'9", 200 plus pounds. Bro, you're a bruiser. Go up there and take that contact. Because if I'm a ref, if I see your big ass leaning away from a guard who's going to, brush up against you, I'm probably not blowing that whistle either, man. I'm really not.
They shot fake too much. I think they pump fake too much at the rim instead of just going up and going through somebody's chest. They pump fake a lot. And when you do that, you know what I'm saying, you're killing your momentum, you know what I mean? And so it's throwing you off balance and you're able to get bumped easily and it'll throw you off balance.
I'll go back to what AC said. What AC said after the technical foul against Georgia Tech. If that's what it takes to light a spark under this Duke team, like, oh shit, maybe we really can just go up and dunk on somebody. Cool. I'll take that loss all day. I'll take that loss.
In January, and I was just looking at it while you guys were talking. In January last year too, Mark went through a stretch because I remember this happening, feeling like we kind of had the same discussion of Mark's having trouble making shots at the bucket. He had a stretch of 11 games last year where he was at or below 50% from two, and most of those were layups. A lot of those are missed layups and things. I remember us talking about this on this podcast. How many layups he was missing during that time frame. Then he recovered after that and was never below 50% ever again the rest of the season except for one game. Like you know what I mean? Like I think better days are coming for him with finishing. Yeah. I think the concentration aspects there, and I think like you're talking about the strength, the long arms, everything else. He'll be able to finish those shots a little easier, I think, as he continues to keep the reps up and keep it going.
Yeah, Jack, I think the other part of that is I think it's a mentality. I think we're all kind of like talking about that. Like, right now, Mark is working through some things, right? And he has the ability, we've seen it, but as Pablo talked about, he has a lot more muscle this year. He's clearly put on great weight. He has the athletic ability. And I think that for him, it's just a mental space where he's done it a few times where we've watched him, just say, fuck it. I'm just going to elevate. I'm going to slam it home.
Yeah.
We'd like to see that more, but that's a mentality. It's something that he has to kind of work through tomorrow, or not tomorrow night, but Wednesday night. Like, that is a perfect opportunity for him to show that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I also think it's been an issue with Flip kind of going up with the expectation the whistle is going to get blown instead of going up and saying, I'm going to score 2 points regardless of this contact, if it comes or not. I think both of them kind of need to work on that, especially, Mark's been struggling with free throws a little bit of late too. But yeah, let's be honest. You go up, you should go up with every intention of trying to get that ball to go through the hoop. I don't care if you get hacked or not. You should still put every effort you possibly can into scoring the basketball. And, we've seen Mark punch it a few times, and it's very fun to see him get hyped like that. Hopefully he doesn't point directly at anyone directly after dunking on him.
Egregious pointing. Jesus Christ.
That was egregious.
That was the craziest technical foul I've seen in a long time. So ridiculous.
I mean, he deserved the tap, but at the same time,
you can tell somebody they're small, you can tap your head, shit, but you can't point.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that there couldn't be other taps,
but I can't point. Okay.
Right. All of it, like I look.
Hey, at least now we know. At least now we know.
Yeah, now we know. Now we know. But
at the same time,
I agree with TK. I think it was a tech, but I think it was it's good to.
That shit was weak.
Frustration.
If he was warned earlier in the game, hey, you can't do that.
Well,
you don't call it tech right there.
He was warned via the Georgia Tech.
He didn't say you're a bitch. He just pointed at him.
He was warned via the Georgia.
He should have said that.
Doing to him.
Yeah.
Which is why it sucks. It's always the second guy.
Yeah.
It's never the first, and that's the thing that sucked about it. And that's why, I kind of felt bad being like, yeah, it was a tech. I understand. Like, he was getting dogged the whole game. But at the same time, it was attack. It was very ill-timed that it happened, and that sucks. Okay. But look, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to finish my point, which was, we've seen Mark punch the ball a few times through the hoop, and every time it has sparked something one way or another, and hopefully we just keep seeing that happen. Flip. I mean, we saw at a countdown. He's able to get that elevation. He just hasn't really shown it in game this year. This is a guy who needs to be doing that a lot more because he's going up soft with the ball, and you can't do that in the ACC. You can't do that hoping for a whistle because you're not going to get it. You're 7 feet tall. You're 250 pounds. You go through contact, and they will blow the whistle more than they are when you're just flailing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old Coach K adage where he talks about you don't go up looking for a foul, you go up to make the shot. And I think that's probably the number one and possibly only criticism I have of Flip this season is I think that he's looking for the fouls more than trying to make the shot. And I don't like the fact that he does that and kind of whines, if he doesn't get the call. Look, dude, I get it, you're a preseason All-American, preseason ACC Player of the Year, but
play like it.
You also have to earn it. You also have to earn that. You have to earn those calls. And as much as we hate, certain older, upperclassmen that get calls that they shouldn't, they've also been through the ringer and they're going to get the benefit of the doubt sometimes. But
they're also going to commit 6 turnovers in a game sometimes.
Oh, right. All right, so let's move on now. I want to move on real quick because there was a social media post about Jeremy Roach and the comparisons to a senior year Quinn Cook. Ran through the numbers and, it reminds me of a senior year Quinn Cook and how he played. To me, I'll try to use my words wisely here. I think it's lazy. I think that it is a scenario where you're just looking for the last national championship team and there was a senior leader on there. And I'm not trying to discourage or disparage, what Quinn Cook did because Quinn Cook was amazing. Quinn Cook was an amazing leader. He did shoot very well. There were a lot of, players, fans that were like, Quinn Cook should leave, should come off the bench. a lot of similarities there to fans that were saying that Jeremy Roach should come off the bench. So I see the similarities in that regard. Having said that, right now, AC, your boy, Jeremy Roach is shooting 50% from three.
Wow.
He's 81% from free throw line. He's shooting 51% from the field.
Mhm.
You know, I know that our Philip Housley's our best player, but right now, Jeremy Roach to me has been, through the 10 games that we played, he's been the best player that we've had.
Yeah, and I think
Quinn Cook was never the best player.
No. His buckets, his offense was
No
opportunistic.
discredit.
No, not at all. But his offense was opportunistic, and Quinn put up some big numbers that senior season. Some 20-point games, you know, some 15, 18, 19-point games, kind of on the regular.
Shots.
Yeah, but the difference was he was on the floor to hit threes and shoot threes, and he did that. He did at a very high clip. He's at 40%. He shot 6.6 threes a game that season. Right now, Jeremy's only shooting about 3.4 threes a game. So that's kind of the difference. Like, Jeremy is more of a creator, and that's why I liken it more to, honestly, in my opinion, it's more like junior season Nolan Smith, where he's creating, he's kind of helping run the point, he's facilitating at times, but when we need somebody to get to the basket and get us a bucket, that's what he does. Like, when that wasn't Quinn. We weren't using Quinn at the rim. That was what Justice Winslow did. That was what Tyus did even at some points. So, I mean, more like Nolan, in my opinion, that junior season Nolan than Quinn, but the leadership, the senior leadership and stuff, I get it, and not mad about it, but you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I think Jeremy this season is, like you said, I think he's settling into, we thought he was going to be the fourth best player on the team. I think he's the second best player on the team. And unless Tyrese comes back and you know,
and plays
really,
like we thought we would.
Yeah, ups his level of play, then I think that's where Jeremy settles. If not, at worst, Jeremy goes the third best player in the team, and I don't see anybody taking that from him the rest of the season, honestly.
Yeah, Pablo, wanted to bring you in on this one because, you know, you were kind of asking, I don't understand the comparisons type of deal. You know, where do you see what Jeremy Roach is doing right now? I don't see them as similar players. I think Jeremy Roach is actually being asked to do a hell of a lot more than Quinn Cook ever did, or was being asked to do his senior year compared to what Jeremy Roach is being asked to do right now. So, like, where do you see that comparison?
I mean, bottom line is that to me it's whack. It's a whack comparison, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. It is what it is. I just don't, I was asking you guys about it because I was just like, where'd that come from? Like, numbers wise, doesn't really match up, and they definitely don't play alike. So I was just kind of like, I was just kind of puzzled by that. But I mean, like I said, they're two totally different players. Two totally different players. Quinn Cook was a spot shooter. You know what I mean? That's pretty much all he was. Not all he was. I mean, obviously he made some big shots for Duke. He used to get in the lane a little bit, hit some floaters and stuff, but he never really was a attack the rim type of guy. Jeremy Roach is. He's obviously a spot shooter too. He's good off the bounce. He can get his own shot. He's a good one-on-one player. So. I don't really like that comparison at all. Leadership wise, Quinn Cook was way more vocal than Jeremy Roach has ever been.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense. Like, I didn't know that anybody had compared those guys until I heard it from you guys. And that was 30 minutes ago. And I was just like, what? I was like, huh? So I was kind of puzzled by that, but I don't even know who the hell said it, but whatever. At the end of the day, like I say, two different players, but I think what Jeremy Roach is doing for us right now is obviously is huge. He's playing his ass off. I think he's going to play a big part into this W we about to get against Baylor on Wednesday as well. Just his gameplay. So I'm just looking forward to every game that we play, obviously, and I just want to see Jeremy Roach just keep it going, man. Like, if he can play at the level that he's playing at, we're going to be good. And I will say this: last year. Was it last year? I think it was last year. I had a certain guy tell me that Jeremy Roach was garbage. I mean, like, he said Jeremy Roach was like the worst player ever. You know what I mean? He was a Gonzaga fan. So I just was like looking at him like, what are you talking about? So I just
don't worry, there are plenty of Duke fans that said the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I know it wasn't this podcast, but
Yeah, I was just like,
we love Jeremy here.
No, it was crazy, but I think we're good, man. I like what I'm seeing, and I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to this game on Wednesday. That'll tell me a lot about the team. Hopefully, we get Tyrese back pretty soon. I hear he's progressing pretty fast, so we'll see what happens.
I just have to really quickly ask: didn't Jeremy ice the game against Gonzaga?
Yes.
The game in Vegas, yeah.
That's why I started laughing, Jack.
I'm so confused by
Multiple
that
times
take.
down the stretch. Texas Tech, we gave him the ball down the stretch.
I
Multiple
remember
times.
the month of March. I remember the month of March. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Against
Jeremy Roach is
Gonzaga.
Mr. March. I can pull up tweets that I literally have, and it says Jeremy Mr. March Roach, straight up. You know what I'm saying? He's Mr. March, bro. Like that's what he do.
That's why I started laughing, Jack, is when he said that Gonzaga fan came in there and started.
Stupid take.
Are we serious right now? Anyway, so D, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I thought that one of the things that happens when you start comparing different players and you're like, okay, wait, one of these comparisons is whack or whatever, which I think it is. I think Pablo's correct. One of the things that happens, though, in that certain situation is that the natural human tendency is to disparage one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not disparaging anything Quinn Cook ever did, or certainly his senior year, which was amazing. And Quinn Cook came out and said, Jeremy's playing better than me. So we take that from the horse's mouth, saying, like, yeah, he's playing better than I am. And what I want to do is talk about, kind of elaborate from what Pablo just said, is the way that Jeremy Roach is being used in this offense. We are asking him to do 10 times more than we asked Quinn Cook to do. And that's not a knock on Quinn Cook. It's actually a testament to how good that actual team was and how great Tyus was. This team right now is asking Jeremy Roach to put up 18, 19 points a game right now, especially with Tyrese out. Kind of talk about, what they're asking him to do, and do you even see a comparison? Because, AC talked about Nolan Smith his junior year. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. We talk a lot about roles on this podcast, right? Like, what's your role? I don't think that you can compare Jeremy and Quinn because they don't have the same role. Like that, Quinn was never handed the ball and said, "I need you to go get 30 tonight. We're playing bad. I need you to get 30." Right now, Jeremy Roach is Duke's most consistent player, and I'll take that
100%.
Great. As good as Quinn was, they're just not the same player as far as role wise. The Nolan Smith thing is a way better one because he was handed the ball saying, "Hey, dude, I need you to get 30 tonight. I need you to get 30 tonight." And yeah, of course, Quinn's going to say he's playing better than me because if you know anything about Quinn, that's the type of dude Quinn is. He's a team first guy. So sure, that's going to be his first thing to say. But let's just stop trying to compare players and let's just look at what we've got right now. Jeremy's the most consistent player on Duke. He's leading by example. And I will say, Pablo, he's getting more and more vocal. He's getting more and more vocal, especially to the opponents, which I love.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That's a different type of vocal right there. Like
talking Jeremy.
But people see that. People see that. And I know everybody saw against that was it Hofstra? And he was like,
I think it was like the last 3 games he's been talking shit to this.
He's been yapping.
Who you think you are, dude? And he went bananas that game. Bananas.
Yeah. Facts.
He doesn't make a lot. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, he only shoots 3.5 threes a game, but you know what? They're good damn threes.
Right.
In rhythm. I mean, I don't know what you can say about Jeremy right now that is bad. I mean,
people still find a way. Believe me, they're still bad.
But those people have probably never played organized basketball a day in their damn life. Let's be real. Real.
Yeah.
Or you just want to hate. But no, I mean,
right. That's what it is.
I think it's more the latter.
But I mean, just let Jeremy cook. Jeremy knows if there's one defined role on this Duke team, Jeremy has a defined role on this Duke team. Just let Jeremy cook, and we'll be fine. I loved what we saw in the Hofstra game. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything that we got coming up tomorrow for the Coach's Corner, but that Duke team against Hofstra could have beat any team in the country the way they played offense, and it was amazing. We're cutting down turnovers. Jeremy's got a lot to do with that. Caleb Foster's playing a great point guard role while Tyrese Proctor's out. And I think Tyrese Proctor was top 5 in the country. Jack, you can check me on this. Top 5 in the country in turnover ratio.
I believe you're correct.
Assist to turnover. I mean,
He was
and
up
I
there,
don't
sure.
think Foster has skipped a beat on keeping that. In fact, I think Duke has had less turnovers over the past 3 games than they have all season. So I really like the direction that this Duke team is taking. I love the changes that John's made. The comparison to him and Quinn is crazy.
I think it's lazy. You know,
It's very lazy. And it was very.
Yeah,
he got a lot of
I
clicks.
started it.
He got a lot of clicks, and I'm happy for him. Good job, but lazy comparison.
Yeah, I think it's lazy.
The roles are not even the same. Jeremy's the leader of this team on and off the court, and we're going to see great things from him. And just wait till March because it's only going to get better. If we're seeing this from Jeremy now, March is going to be wild.
March Jeremy's going to be up there putting up Pete Maravich numbers.
I'm telling you now.
Well, I hope that he does. I hope that he does.
72% in March.
I hope that he does Wednesday night against Baylor. You know, Jack's going to be there representing the 5 Point Play podcast there, so I want to see that. We're not going to get to the Bear preview yet. I want to get to the stock market first.
You beat me to the punch, TK.
We have a bell. So we have a bell, AC, and I want to ring the.
You love it.
While we wait for that bell, we got a couple guys that I want to talk about for the stock market. And, you know, the first one is Sean Stewart. I want to talk about that one, Pablo. Sean Stewart, because, I mean, you hear Duke Nation right now. They are yelling for Sean Stewart minutes. Why is he not playing? He should be playing more. He should be playing 40 minutes a night. Like, obviously, you know, exaggeration to make a point. He, to me, looks a little bit lost. But this is a stock market segment. It's not a segment to break down his game. Where are you buying? Are you selling? Or are you holding where you are right now with Sean Stewart?
I guess I'm a hold. I'm a hold for now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's all I'll say. I'll hold.
All right, AC, what do you got?
All you can do is hold right now.
Jack?
Hold.
D?
Gotta hold.
All right, I guess I'm going to have to be that guy. I'm going to sell. I don't think that, you know, right now, the way I look at it is John kind of has his core guys that he trusts. That doesn't mean that Sean Stewart is not going to get, you know, minutes where they're available, and, you know, it could be foul trouble, it could be injury, it could be whatever, and that could change things. Right now, I think I just sell it and, you know, hope for the best. I know you never sell low, but right now that's what I'm doing, and it kind of leads me into the next one, Jack, which is TJ Power. Everybody bought TJ Power over the last couple of games, and then they saw him in 2 games against Charlotte and Hofstra. He barely played. Where are you on the TJ Power stuff?
I think TJ is in the same exact spot as Sean in terms of play time and like spot in the rotation, role, things like that. So I'm going to say got a hold on him too.
Pablo, where are you at, TJ Power?
Holding. I'm holding, baby.
D?
Gotta hold.
AC?
Like it feels like it's a buy low because I still think there's room for him to get rotational minutes because his role is pretty secure in as what he does. So I still think there's an opportunity to buy low here because I think there's more to come.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on this one. I'm going to buy as well. I think that I agree with Jack in terms of I think that his role is going to be limited and it might be spotty, but he has an actual niche that this team can use, and that's his shooting ability. So whether it's zone teams or we're in foul trouble or we're not shooting well, we can plug him in. And he's shown the propensity to come out there and hit shots. So to me, I'm going to buy, and then we'll finish this stock market up with Mark Mitchell. This is going to be a really interesting one. I feel like everybody's going to buy, but Pablo, I'll start with you.
You know, I'm a buy, baby. You know what I'm saying? All day, all day. It's only gonna get better too. Pause.
I don't think that was a pause, but
That
all
wasn't
right.
even a pause.
I don't think it was a pause. I don't think it was a pause, but
Hey, I just had to make sure. You know what I'm saying? I had to
yeah,
make sure.
no, I understand. You certainly want to make sure about it. You know, that's fair. All right, D, what do you got?
Buy. I've since
That's
the
the
Georgia
Backstreet
Tech game,
Boys. Bye. That's the
buy,
Backstreet
buy,
Boys, ain't it?
buy.
One of them.
I'm all in on Mark Mitchell right now. I think he really could become, as we look towards the new year going into January and February, he really could be the keystone of this team. I think he's a mismatch across the floor. I think you can put him anywhere and he can succeed. I want to see more out of him. I think he needs to believe in himself a little more. But yeah, I'm buying all day.
Yeah, Jack, what do you got?
I just threw money at the screen. If you didn't see that, TK,
Yeah.
So
you can have all
going
zero
through.
money I have. Nah, I'm buying on Mark because Mark is at a low point so far, performance-wise, in a while, probably since last January when we were talking about it on the podcast. But you know, he he showed flashes of things. John's made some adjustments with him that I think are going to be incredibly beneficial for him as a player and as a pro prospect. So I think right now you have to buy on Mark.
Yeah.
AC.
Yeah, everybody said it. It's a buy.
Yeah, I think that it's a buy. I don't think we need to belabor the point there. I think, like D said, right now with where Mark Mitchell is as a player, he is working through some things, and it's only going to get better from him. You know, he's starting to understand who he is. Pablo mentioned it earlier in the podcast. Once he continues to understand who he is, he's going to play better. He's going to accept his role. He's going to finish at the rim. I know that's going to happen. And teams better look out. So I think it's a 5-point play buy on Mark Mitchell for
Absolutely.
this year. No doubt. All right, let's get to the Baylor preview, Jack. Of course, like I said at the beginning, you know, they got blown out by Michigan State, a team that we beat earlier. Of course they did. They shot horrible. They were 31% from three, 63% from the free throw line. Michigan State, who's a horrible shooting team, shot 68%, 67% from three. And it's just one of those things where, you know, those games happen to everybody. They happen to Duke all the time. Baylor is a guard-heavy team. I know, probably you want to talk about, you know, some of the bigs that they roll in, and I know, AC, you want to touch on that, and you're going to do that in the coach's corner. So maybe, you know, Jack, first of all, talk about what Baylor is going to do starting, you know, in Madison Square Garden against us.
Well, they're going to be mad because they just got embarrassed by probably the worst Michigan State team in the last, 10, 15 years, which, you know, never a good look, especially since I don't remember the last time Michigan State's had a losing record coming into a game like that and won so handily.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. And they're going to, this is a nationally televised game. This is Madison Square Garden. This is Duke. They're going to come out strong. They got a really good team. They're ranked 6th for a reason. Not more than a couple of guys left from that national championship 3 seasons ago, but they have replenished very well. They've lost some guys to the portal. They've lost some guys to graduation, the pros, whatever. But no, they're a good team. They're a scary team, and it's going to be a hell of a game.
And where are your seats?
I am not going to lie. I actually don't know. I keep asking my family because I'm going with my family. I keep asking, hey, where are the tickets? And then, I haven't checked. I'll get back to you. We have tickets. I know
we're
that.
We're sure you're there.
Yeah, no, Yes, I have
spelling
tickets.
is correct on the ticket.
I have seen the tickets.
Okay.
I just do not remember where they are, and it just keeps being like an inopportune time when I ask where we're sitting.
This is actually a dumb question. I'm not even sure why I'm asking it, but like, is there another game after us?
No, I think it's just
Okay.
Duke and Baylor.
Okay.
If there
yeah,
is, I'm not staying. I got train tickets.
That's fair. You gotta go back to Philly. AC, what are you looking for? Don't spoil the coach's corner for tomorrow, but what are you
No,
looking
we'll look
for
more
from
in
the team?
depth on that. But just a general breakdown of what we're gonna see, man. Like they're a fast-paced team. They like to move the ball up and down the floor. They're really good at the three-point shot. Very good all season, and we've not been great. I said it a few times on the pod that one of our strengths under John so far has been three-point percentage defense. This year is not the case. And they're going to shoot a lot of threes. They look for it. They look for it, and they look for the standstill three. They don't shoot well off the dribble. They look for the standstill three a lot. So we got to keep them on the move on that perimeter, man. But they usually start out with one big 4-guard out, and then they like to bring in two different off the bench. They like to bring in two bigs and run baseline on teams, and they're really effective with it. So backdoor cuts have been one of our problems. So we can't fall asleep against this team. We can't.
Yeah.
We really can't.
Yeah, Pablo, I know you just got room service, so I'm going to let you hang tight real quick and go to D. D, what are you looking for this game against Baylor?
Baylor does a great job of spreading that ball out, and there's everybody on that team who starts and comes off the bench pretty much averages at least double digits. So you can't slack off on anybody. I'll say that. It's a very well-coached team. However, they have a tendency to turn the ball over at a clip that's kind of alarming for a 6th-ranked team. Duke has cleaned that up a little bit. Duke has been forcing some turnovers lately. Yes, I know Charlotte, Hofstra, whatever, but they're still playing basketball too. They're grown men playing basketball. And I think there's some mismatches on the floor that Duke can utilize. We've talked about Mark. We've talked about Flip. I think those guys can space this floor out a little bit, and Duke can – we could see Duke really come to their own in this game against Baylor and prove people – even Duke fans, prove them wrong. I think Duke matches up really well with them. I mean, they got a 7-footer, but hell, so does Duke, right? I mean, it really depends on where. And again, I think Mark is the keystone in this. Like, where are we going to plug Mark in at? Are we going to put him in the corner, or are we going to let him come up to the free throw line, catch and turn, and go to the basket? Because if we get Baylor in some foul trouble, it could be a really long night at Madison Square Garden for them.
Mm-hmm. And something you pointed out real quick, D, before we go to Pobs, you pointed out really well the turnover part, man. That's going to be important. Limiting that. I think playing a slower game this time is going to be key to us limiting their possessions, because they also don't they're not a good defensive rebounding team at all. Like, not even good. They're a great offensive rebounding team. They're not a good defensive rebounding team.
So AC, you like them slow? You like slowing the game down then?
I do, because that limits the amount of possessions they have, and if we can force them into non-quality shots on top of turning them over, on top of getting boards and limiting their possessions, that's an easy win if we can make that work.
If Pablo, we can get the 7-footer into foul trouble, that it'll be a long night for Baylor.
Pablo, how do you see this game going?
We're gonna fucking win. Bottom line. The thing about Baylor too, man, is with their bigs, they have multiple bigs, and you know what I mean, that actually play and that are effective. Their 7-footer is the freshman Missy, so he's a little foul prone, but he's a damn good shot blocker, and he's a good defender, and he can finish at the rim. He's their vertical spacer. You got the other kid, the older kid, Chama Chachua.
He's barely playing.
Bridges.
He doesn't play much at all, though.
4 minutes.
Yeah, but
he played 19 minutes.
Ojawuna is the other one that plays a lot.
Yeah.
They're gonna throw him out there just to beat Flip up, though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. He's worth the fouls.
And then the other kid with the long name. What is his name again?
Like Ojawuna or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And so, I mean, it's gonna be a good game. I mean, we do match up with them well, guard wise. I think we got the advantage. They have a really talented freshman too, Jacoby Walters.
Oh my God!
So, they got him. They got RJ Dennis that played at Boise State. They got the other freshman Miro Little, who's nice too. So it's gonna be a good game, man. I think it's gonna be a chess match. And Scott Drew, he's a really he's more of a defensive coach than anything. Well, I think he's a pretty balanced coach, but he throws a lot of like junk defenses out there too. So he's good at switching his defenses up and strategizing. So it'll be a good game, man. I'm looking forward to it all. They just got their ass handed to them. So I know that, they're going to be pissed and they're going to be ready to play. Mm-hmm. But if Duke could jump on them early, which we never do, you know what I'm saying? So if we could jump on them early, you know what I mean? I think we'll be fine. But, it's going to be a good game, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the other thing about that is Scott Drew, I agree with you. He throws a lot of junk defenses out on you. And if you're scouting against Michigan State, you were like, okay, yeah, go ahead and shoot as many threes as you can because you're a terrible three-point shooting team. We pretty much did the same thing. They didn't really hit against us. I know they did a little bit in the first half, but of course against Baylor they hit. They were 8 of 12. That's, I don't want to say unlucky, but like that's pretty much unlucky because you're basically saying go ahead and shoot the threes. But anyway, like AC, we need predictions here. We need predictions. So AC, give me a prediction for this game.
I mean, and I want to look at something real quick because I didn't pay attention to this when the game was happening. Is this true that Baylor only had 14 rebounds that game?
Yep.
Yeah.
They had 20 rebounds, 14 with offensive. They only had 6 offensive rebounds.
Okay. Still, 20 rebounds is horrible.
It's bad. I mean, they were out rebounded by 9.
Since we've moved Mark down low, our rebounding numbers have started to go up a little bit. Again, I think possession is key this game, and I think we can manage possession. I see us winning this one. Before the season, I would have told you it's a blowout. I don't think so. Then I get blown out twice in a row. It's going to be a slower game. Give me 73 to 69. Duke wins.
Nice.
69, nice. Jack, I'll go right to you. You're going to be at this game. What do you got?
I got a happy train ride home on Wednesday night. I got a Duke win. Give me 78 to 73.
Wow. So you're kind of calling a blowout then.
5 points isn't really a blowout.
Oh, I thought you said 78-63. I'm sorry.
No, I said 78-73.
Oh, my fault. Okay. I was going to say, I was like, holy shit, that kind of came out of nowhere. Okay. Fair enough. Getting the cafe car of the Amtrak, head home, enjoy yourself. D, what do you got? D, are we going to be watching this game together? Is that
I think we should. I think we should, man. We'll figure out where we're going to watch it at, either here at Shakey's, but I think Duke's averaging just over 81 points a game. I don't see them slowing down from the last 2 games. Like I said, I really see a lot of mismatches on the floor for Duke. Yeah, they're gonna slow it down, but I also think they need to get to the free throw line. Get these guys in foul trouble, get them off their rhythm. Maybe pick them up at half court on defense to make them slow down a little bit. Give me 81-76.
Okay, a little bit higher scoring. Pablo, what do you got? I know you're going to say Duke wins, but give me a score.
I don't really give a fuck about the score. Duke just needs to win. Bottom line, I don't care if
just
we win by
baby.
a point.
Just win.
I don't care if we win by a point. Just win the fucking game. Bottom line. And we didn't get Naquan Tomlin, so fuck.
Nope.
But whatever. We're good.
All right, fair enough. I'm with AC on this one. I think 72-68 is what I'm predicting. I think that it's going to be a knock 'em, drag 'em out game, but I think we got to win. And I think what we did in these last 2 games is going to kind of start propelling us. It's going to start giving us that momentum. Then we have a couple of early ACC games, early in January. I know we got another one or 2 before the new year. But look, Duke is evolving, and we're doing it without arguably a guy that should have been our best player. So Duke is a team that is doing so high right now, and we're just kind of scratching the surface of where we can be. This team has the ability to do all the different things that we talked about during the offseason. We're going to win the ACC. We're going to win the ACC tournament. We're going to win the national championship. We are going to do these things. It's just going to take us a little bit longer than we anticipated. And so right now, strap in, let's go. Let's focus on what we got to do. Let's get better each and every day. have a fucking happy New Year. First of all, Jack, enjoy the game on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Man, have fun.
Let's go Duke.
Let's go Duke.
Let's go, Duke.
Go Duke.